welcome everyone. Good to see everyone. Sorry. But no, Rusty. I am thinking about doing a giveaway not too long from now. But I also want to get the chat back here, so which doesn't work. Great, it's been a while. Like a watercolorist said, it has been a while, and to be honest, it has been such a while that there were quite some updates, so I was kind of anxious to see what that does with the stream. But I think we'll manage. If I can get this to work, I can read the chat over there as well, which is way more convenient for me than to do it from here. Let's just do this. Yes, there it is. Okay. Yeah, sorry, I need to chat kind of here, still there. Fat Filbert, welcome. Jesse, welcome. And Gulshan, yes, I am going to highlight this, but I can't because it is not there yet, but family first, yeah. Absolutely. So summer holiday is over now, which gives more space for a normal rhythm. If I'm bursting out in sweats during this this session, it is how many degrees? 27 degrees Celsius here inside. That's desk level. Up here it's a little bit higher. My kiln has been on. It's been turned off 2 hours ago, but it's been cooking for a few hours on 1,000 degrees, which is noticeable. I've been making some new things, and I actually wanted to show you the pigments that I fired today. But to be honest, I started too late with it, and it's still 500 degrees. So it's probably Violet, welcome. It's probably cooled down tomorrow morning. And if I have things to show that are worth it, I'll go live immediately, because I have been tweaking on the recipes, on the process in my head. Like I've been kind of tinkering in my head with this. I'm not sweating right now. I mean, I just use a screen protector. There were some theories in my head. Ian, that is the fairest question of them all. Why haven't you? If there's anyone here who hasn't. Well, for them, they're still at an age that it's a lot of playing. It's getting a little bit more serious for them right now, but the social part is good. But I have to agree. I've learned actually most of everything in life after school. So as have I think most other people. Anyway, back to the pigments, because we're not going to talk about school. I want to talk about education, but that's like how to make watercolors. As I was saying, I've been doing some tinkering inside internal, just theoretical during the past weeks on what to do. I know where I want to go with the manganese green. I know how to get there, but I was kind of green tired, also because it was such a muted green. It didn't really lighten up anything inside of me. Green, I love the color green, but although I have some shirts and my head is kind of the same shade. Well, you promise, Ian. Don't speak for all of us. I wanted to work on some more saturated colors, some a little bit different as well. Not just greens, but it is Gulchen. Thank you. And I've been looking through my swatches and done a lot of reflecting there as well. Okay, where do I want to go? What do I want to have? What does it need? What do I need to tweak? I've run through everything basically, and I came to the conclusion that I wanted to first make a cobalt blue that actually works. I'm surrounded by it. This pigment came out of my kiln yesterday, and I'm really pleased with this. There it is. It's this blue. It's literally this blue. I mean, if you don't believe me, this is the pigment. This is the swatch. I've also made this. This is, by the way, Indian yellow from Morrow. I did receive the pigment, but that is maybe for later. But I made these two, so I'm happy with that. I'm happy with these results. Pigment came out quite like dry, powdery, colored. This started black, you know, so happy with this. Cobalt blue with a little bit of doping, a color tweak of chromium oxide to make it just that, like change that a little bit. To not make it like your standard, like, oh, that's cobalt blue, but just to change it a little bit more towards cerulean maybe, but a little bit darker, a little bit deeper. I did notice in my swatch though that let me have a look. Is this still the best? I think this is still the best cam for it. That I need to wash it, and you see it especially here with the cobalt violet that I made. There is like a white little wash over the mask tone over there that dried in. You see it in the blue, a little bit of that white wash is just washing the pigment. It needs washing, so I need to clean the pigment and let it dry, but I just didn't have time for it. So I'm really pleased with this. I'm really pleased with this. I made these myself, a watercolorist. So these are pigments that I made myself. It's not. Chemically, it's kind of the same as PV14 would be, a cobalt violet deep. But the process that I made it, I didn't make it with precipitation, but I made it with calcination, so in the kiln, which isn't the way they make cobalt violet. So I'm not quite sure if I can call it cobalt violet, although it is a violet made with cobalt. So I'm just going to call it cobalt violet. And I made two versions of it. I can better show you, I think, with this one. And it's really interesting to see how they came out of the kiln. This one was the white is just it's kind of lost what I put through there. And it's chemical that wasn't mixed thoroughly on top, and this one. And the only difference here is, and this is just a rookie mistake of mine, I used Fritz to to melt the color together, so to speak. For this I used a calcium frit, and for this I used a borax frit. And this is the difference. These were fired together. These were calcinated in the same session. And you can see what it does. Like, this is seriously, I think 0.3 grams, 0.2 grams of both added to a crucible. And a structural, so how it reacted. One started kind of bubbling and sintering, and the other just shrunk down into a kind of a massive little stone, a little cake of pigment that I can crush and break perfectly, by the way. Both very different in how they reacted. And also different in how they look, by the way. But I'm really pleased with how that worked. Yeah, I did. Well, at least no, I haven't. That does have a reason. Let me have a look. I did do it. Did I? Did I? Let's do it here. So it's 33.2. This is 33.1. This one. So it means that I need to make paint. I kind of did, but kind of also didn't, because I made four jars of those to see what kind of difference it made in the front of my kiln or in the back of my kiln, to see if the temperature or the draft or the ventilation, if anything, had any difference. I didn't come that far to swatch everything, but I did prep. I did break off a little corner of this one to make pigment out of it during today's live. In my kiln right now is another version of this violet. I think I can master this blue. I'm actually quite sure that the blue is... I can get that blue under control. Kind of, I'm just looking for... There's too many green swatches here as well. Like, I've made quite a few blues, and I added this one to it. This camera I'm sorry. It's not that bright. Although this one is rather good looking. So the blue was a little bit of tweaking, also a little bit of getting to know my kiln. I did swatch two versions, but this swatch card, this actually just entire paper is covered with green earth pigment, because I had a bottle that broke in my hand when I was trying to open it. But you know, all the greens they're truly lovely greens that are actually really happy with. But if I look like at an experiment like this, just the differences of just little additions or the placement of the pigments in the kiln, or you know, temperature wise. Paolo, welcome. But this violet, I've tweaked it, taken out the frit because it really doesn't need it, and I think, like I said, that was a rookie mistake. But it was interesting to see the difference in the reaction. Funny enough, I didn't use it with the blue. I have two versions of with this. One that I made with cobalt carbonate and one that I made with cobalt oxide. Both need they both need different proportions. They have a different reaction temperature, and a different mole weight. I think it is in English as well. I don't know. Paolo probably does. those two I fired together as well as an experimental green and an experimental orange, which both fire together with a cobalt violet, which is a risk a little bit. But like I said, I'm not planning to go live for that many hours, so I can probably see if they worked tomorrow morning. In the meantime, I already have 5 pigments ready for firing. Muller weight actually sounds more convincing in English. It's the weight in mol in Dutch, I think. But I'm just happy that these came out of my kiln. I'm really pleased, and like I said, I haven't even washed these. I washed them just with water, but not with any acid or anything else. That's an excuse, Ian. I think you're just getting started. It has been a while, so I think you just missed this, and you're taking your chances with, you know, every opportunity you get. So I will swatch this one. I will take that anyway. Just if you listen to it, it's just a solid kind of violet brick. Which is interesting. Jesse, no, that's something I don't have the equipment, I don't have the tools, any of the safety measures, or the funds even to do that. I know the method. I've looked for the method, just, you know, out of curiosity a while back. It's a wet process, and Paolo, to be honest, I have looked into the wet process. I mean, I now have a magnetic stirrer, so I thought, you know, what's stopping me? Funny enough, I made flavor extracts years back for cooking, and I actually bought a glass vacuum installation for that, which is also needed for the wet or you can use it for the wet process. But it's just too much of the I don't know. I think this fits me more. Paolo, I think there's actually I've seen a YouTube video of someone, I think it was on YouTube, right? Somewhere I've seen a video of someone making it out of PV19, I think. Oh, that is true. There's different versions of it as well. I'm sorry. And Jesse, coming up with another way to make a similar color pigment with quinacridone gold is really difficult, and I don't think it's worth it, to be honest. Quinacridone gold, and especially the one that, you know, everyone got to know because of Daniel Smith, that last kind of version, is thanks, Ian. I wish that were true. Then you would have seen me in a completely renewed, different, or bigger studio if that was true. In its mass tone, it's not that interesting. In washes, we have pigments that look similar, but it's mostly the combination of something that like that deep golden orange going to a very bright and vibrant yellowish color, a warm yellow. What made it interesting, and well, as a watercolorist said, you have, or PY 150 even, if you mix that, you have transparent red oxides. If you mix that with a PY 150, you can get close. A single pigment, but that's what I said, like that single pigment, that aspect of the single pigment, PY 150 brings that like bright yellow in washes, whereas PL 48, most mixes had PL 48 with PY 150. That brings that like dark mass tone. Is a combination of both, and it is a pigment. It's an organic pigment that is just like, I can't make it this way. It's just that simple. I can make inorganic pigments, and I'm learning literally every day. I'm sitting here, and today I've sat here. I've clocked it 4 hours on, with my mask on, gloves on. I even bought a hat. Where did I leave it? No, that's not true. I didn't buy it. I already had it. Like this thing, you can just put on your head, like, as if I am working in a mine. Because like sometimes I'm just working so much, like to look at a color, like this as well, or mulling it, and I want to just see all the details. I'm just making my own shadows here in this light. But I'm learning every day that I'm making pigments. Well, I can come up with a new pigment. But I don't know if that's going to be beautiful or marketable. I mean, I can throw together stuff. Now, it's what I can be open about it. I've gathered quite a bunch of rare earth elements, oxides, and what I'm trying to do tomorrow is I'm trying those in a kind of similar way that I've been working with the cobalt, but with the needed adjustments for the for every element that I use, to make pigments that haven't been made before. To be honest, it probably has a reason. It's either because it's impossible, way too expensive to do it on a larger scale, or just not worth it. It's probably going to be either one of the three, maybe both. Maybe two, maybe all three. It's, Jesse, the pigment world is quite a weird little world. I have a guy that I can literally buy bags of PB33 from still, and it's still the old stuff. He just doesn't sell it to the big companies. He sells it now and then, on a small scale. No, Paolo, please, don't be quiet. Don't be quiet. I have missed this, so please don't be quiet. Otherwise, I'm just going to crack this pigment fine on my slab, and you know, I hear nothing of what you say. That's weird. I can still read it, but you know, it's what I'm going to try tomorrow is basically doping colorants in a workable pigment structure, and what did I use for it? Terbium. No, not at all Ian as well. Holmium, gadolinium, yttrium. What else did I use? Samarium, I think. Erbium. It's all things that, you know, you usually don't see in pigments. Neodymium, the stuff, you know, we know of magnets. It's usually the things that you don't see as colorants in pigments because they're just too expensive. It's unknown who makes them a watercolorist. It happens in Asia, and I know that. I mean, I've contacted a supplier in China a few years back for PO49, freshly produced, and I think it would cost me like 700 euros for just a sample. So yeah, if you work in car industry and you can buy bigger batches. Well, Yinmin actually was on my list, but there's too many people already making Yinmin. I kind of have enough of it to go around, you know. And I mean, like Shepherd Pigments, the manufacturer of Yinmin and Yintico, they have the rights, you know, of that pigment, of the selling of the pigment, and I don't want to get in trouble with that. And I know a lot of people sell it and make it, and you know, small batch produce it, still. But I want to kind of respect that. Yeah. It's not a pigment that I sell a lot of, and I know they are like true professionals. I don't want to pretend to be, you know, to make something that they will definitely make better. I'm first drinking this before I start grinding this pigment into smaller pieces. But yeah, whatever is in my kiln right now, tomorrow, they all have lids on the crucibles, which kind of, for me, it kind of sucks because right now, probably at the end of my live stream, it would be like around 400 degrees, and that's, for my kiln, that's kind of safe to just take a peek. But with the crucible still on, I can't take a peek. I need to take like the lid of the crucible. Yeah. Well, when it comes to sources of pigments, like I have enough sources. But there's not a lot of places I can go to just, you know, buy small. And most of the pigments I buy are either for my collection, or, you know, I don't need a lot of it. That's why I have that many pigments. So I can, I can get samples, but that's about it, of the bigger companies. Or it needs to be a custom order, and usually there's a price tag to that. So then it must be a company that, I can buy smaller amounts of multiple pigments. So it's still worth it. Yeah, Teddy, if you know, please let me know as well. I'm just out of curiosity, I want to know who that is. Because there's been some... No, I'm not going to say... I might just say that. I don't trust everything that comes out of Italy when it comes to pigments and paint making. That's just all I'm going to say. Cheers. Sentient, welcome. So I will crush this little piece of pigment down, and I will kind of... I think this thing just moves or changes because of the heat. I don't know. It is small enough to do it like this, but with a bigger chunk, I really need to use pestle and mortar. But this is just small and soft enough. Who's Luca? Who is this Luca? Who is this competitor, a watercolorist? And I really wanna just, send me DM. If you want to, I'm just going to send you some of my paints, okay, a watercolorist? I'm that serious. That's not a lot of pigment. Yeah, could be that. Could be that brand. That wasn't mulling, fortunately, Jesse. Teddy, where do you live again? Or again? You've never bought anything. Where do you live? Where are you located? If I may ask. I won't say anything. That's all I'm going to say. Teddy lives in London. Well, I can ship there. If you lived in the US, I couldn't. I just got the message that they stopped shipping to the US currently until they found a solution for the for everything that's going on there. This still has, like, this is the version that I have right now is a different version. This is the puffed up version, and this is the brick version. And I think the brick version, as weird as it sounds, or at least as weird as it looked to me, the brick version is actually somewhat more less saturated than the puffed up one. And that did sound weird to me because it's so much deeper. Well, it's not like FedEx still ships to the US, but FedEx is 3 times more expensive to ship with. Like 25 or 30 euros for a standard shipment. This one feels bluer. I don't know if you can see that as well, but for me this feels, kind of looks a little bit bluer as well. Just enough. Kind of looks the same, yeah. For me, I don't know. It needs to dry, then I can assess it. But right now, it really does look the same. So there is also a difference between in the front and in the back. One got more oxygen, while the other one gets a little bit more heat. Yeah. We've talked about the zinc green. Let's say a pigment in progress. Well, it's a 15% tariff rate on all packages, but the other one, Teddy, I also sell it. Problem solved. I'm not going to, like. Last stream has been in weeks. I'm not promoting anyone else here, just me. If you want it, let me know. So that's done. A week back, the message was that you needed to pay $60 to $80, I think, even when you bought even when you get a gift, even when you bought something from €2 or $2, there was like a standard rate. Gulchen, what did I just say? No promoting others. Like, Guerra's fine. That's a pigment. But, so yeah, that was kind of tricky. Because then I thought, you know, then it's, you know, you pay $80, like, flat rate, $80, and then you get an added percentage. Then offer PB80. Well, no, I'm currently making pigments, but don't I offer PB80? I think I forgot to add that to my listing then. I thought I had a little bit, you know, paints that I didn't have space for. Never mind. I'm not even going to look into that right now. So yeah, no, basically, Jesse, that's, you know, to you or any US people. It's just truly fake right now. So from my shipping partner shipping company that I use, I got an email today that they've stopped everything kind of starting now. Ian, you're different enough. There's no Uzo needed for that. So I got an email that they stopped shipping to the US, except for via FedEx, which is crazy expensive. And then you need to, you know, add the rates to the to the shipping rate, to the shipping costs. And I think, based on what I've read, like if like an average package, just a percentage of an average package that is sent to the US with the shipping rates of FedEx combined with the tariffs, I need to charge like €100 extra for shipping only on my side, and then there's no guarantee that you won't get any customs on your side added to that, and that's just impossible. You missed my homemade cobalt violet, which I finished yesterday, Mr. Pigments, and my cobalt blue greenish. Oh wow, we use the same wording for that, Gulchen. Thank you. But I'm showing it now. So yeah, homemade pigments, one powdery, one not so much, but that will change tomorrow. Let me have a look at the temperature. 450 degrees. That's still way too hot to open it. So yeah, I have a two different versions of the cobalt violet coming up. I still need to, like, this is what I've done here as well. I literally just crushed a part of this pigment stone on my slab, and I made paint out of it, and as you can see, it's still not dry, this lower one I made. I haven't washed it, and it probably needs a little acidity wash, and then a wash till it gets a neutral pH again, to get like any unreacted salts out of that, because as I showed in the beginning, there's still a kind of a grayish mist over the mask stone there. But yeah, both like beautifully granulating the blue and the violets. I'm really happy with this. Tomorrow, and hopefully tomorrow morning early, I will fire up my kiln again. I have 5 pigments that are ready to be fired, and they're all rare earth elements. Meaning, if those work, or if any one of those works, is that true? I think it is true. I will have a pigment that hasn't been made before, ever, in any way that I can find. Maybe it has. I want to show you. I want to bring you along with my process, with my internal disastrous mess that's going on in my head. Yeah, homemade, home cooked, artisanal. I don't know. So I did a quick spectral curve reading of this cobalt violet in a like in the middle, not completely masked on, but in the middle, just to get the spikes a little bit clearer for me. And can I show it in the big? Yes, I can show it in the big. There you go. Interesting. Definitely find it. Loads of red. Sorry, this side. Loads of red. Loads of blue. But there's a green, cyan green bump in the middle. And I want to get rid of that. That makes it more vibrant. That makes it not particularly lighter. But maybe more towards a magenta-ish. Maybe there's a little bit too much yellow. Orange yellow for a magenta. So, my process right now, Gultin, and why my shop has been closed. That's mostly because of the summer holidays, but also because I just want to have full focus on this. I'm looking to, I can't think of any material that is used in either ceramic glazing, like colored ceramic glazing, or the manufacturing of pigments with calcination. I think I have most materials possible, and you know, be it just small bottles of it, or just a few grams. So you know, I can't make a lot of it. It is enough for me to experiment with. And with the rare earth elements, you know, for a batch of, say, 10 grams, you don't need more than a gram or so of it. But they're also useful for other things. For instance, and this is just pure coincidence, because I saw this a while back, but let me have a look if I can bring this up here. That's it. There you are. So artspigment.org, it has the U.S. Pigment Corporation Chemicals and Rare Earth Elements. Sells a lot of stuff, by the way. I looked at it. Nice stuff. But you can get it cheaper in ceramic shops, because these are just used as ceramic colorants as well. The erbium oxide and neodymium oxides. But if you look at the spectral curve of it, and this is why I really appreciate Tamas's work here, and especially looking at neodymium oxide here, he used a different spectrometer for it. So he uses the NYX Spectra 2 as well. Right now he uses the X-Rite iPro 3 for this, which has just a broader spectrum. 380 to 720 instead of 400 to 700, but that's, both work for me for the curves. Interestingly, it has a dip here in the 520 area, and let me just go back to this one. 520 is this spike over here, 520 nanometers here, all right? So it has a dip there, and it has a dip in the 580 area, which is here. So neodymium could be seen as a negative kind of version-ish. It has negatives of what this has positives, or this has positive of what that has negatives. I don't know how to explain that. So 580, this already has a dip, so it can be a little bit deeper, but 520 here is a peak. Right, so 520 here is a dip. Here 580 is a dip as well, but then it's still lower at 600, 620. It's almost flat again. So let me go back. 580, 600, 620. So it might bring a little bit more orange wavelengths of this here, but it will reduce the cyan and green wavelengths a lot. Looking at this. And if we think about it, like cooking, and we're basically fusing together the oxides as a single pigment, which kind of takes qualities of everything else. What this should do, what neodymium oxide should do, this one, is it should eliminate this green bump here. Big mouse. Where's my big mouse? Big mouse? There. The green bump. Neodymium oxide. But just enough to not influence the color. Now that's going on in my head. Making spectral curves of things I have. Looking up things, like that. Valerie, Izzy, thank you so much. And welcome, by the way. New names for me. Paolo, I am. But right now, let me go back to this. With this, that worked. And this is just using 1 to 3% of the total weight. No, unfortunately not. I think I can just take the pure oxide. Let me have a look. Neodymium oxide. Neodymium, and let me get a magnet. Nope, it's not. Anyway, good question. There's your answer. It's not magnetic. So with that 1 to 3% in molar weight, it's enough to tweak. Yeah, I know, Paolo. Trust me, I know. I'm at my 39th recipe of pigments. And a lot of them, like the last 12, I think, worked. Not fully predictable, I have to admit. But they worked. Valerie, thank you so much. I have to if you were there, I want to show you something special for you, but everyone else here has seen it, but they weren't at the Pigment Revealed International presentation. Yes, guys, I still blame you. No, just joking. This is like I was talking about making manganese green. And the entire process that was going on in my head. And this is literally what happened after the presentation. I made manganese green in such a variety that I'm really satisfied with what I found out, what I learned in this process. Let's not too much put AI in the conversation again, Valerie or Jesse. I'm sorry. Let it think for me. That's what it's good for. That's all I can say. Now, with pigments, it's just my own curiosity and my own kind of the drive that started this was manganese green, a pigment that had no visuals whatsoever anywhere, but it is mentioned just a few times. But no visuals. There's no samples. There's nothing. So that was my drive here to make that. And with that, I learned so much, so many new things that that sparked a new curiosity for me. Still pigment based, still pigment focused, always, but in a fully different way than, you know, my ever-growing collection and the paint that I make with it. So yeah, those were, sorry, I put them away again. Yeah, those were all different versions of manganese green that I made, and I made these yesterday, the day before yesterday. I got these out of my kiln yesterday, these two. And right now there's should be two purified versions of this. Should be, but I did palo, in all honesty, in both versions. Maybe that wasn't the wisest, but I want to know what happened. This is just curiosity. I put just 1.5% of neodymium oxide in it to counteract that green bump that's visible here. Like, I need to get rid of this green bump. Then, you know, then I'm okay. But then it's more where I want it to be. Also, neodymium oxide, which is interesting, goes along like horizontal in the UV range, whereas erbium oxide goes down, and I don't want it to go down because mine already does go down a little bit. So lifting that up would make it like a deeper violet, pushing down the green. Like, I'm not saying it's going to be equal, because the measurements are completely out of balance, but it should be enough to counteract a little bit with those green wavelengths. You just silence them a little bit, not mute them, but just shush them. Hopefully, they're still in my kiln. Ian, it really is, and to be honest, the first 25 times, I think I've been crying. No, I haven't. I had one meltdown. Just full transparency here. I really had one meltdown around number 20, I think. And around number 20, I really sat down and reflected on anything I was trying to do and doing, and I was realizing some stuff. And then it took me two other batches where I combined a few different variations. That's why in two batches I got from 20 to 25, and number 25 actually was the one that worked. So yeah, it hasn't been always fun. I'm now at number 40-ish, I think, after today or tomorrow. But the pigment that you see around me here is the blue that came out of my kiln yesterday, and I was really pleased. I mean, I took a picture of it. I was really in doubt whether I, should post this on Instagram or wherever. And I want to show it here. Oh yeah, I can show it here. It kind of works. And it just looked like those fake phylics around it, but that blue was just, there was such a vibrant blue in the middle. That's how I put it in my kiln, by the way. Right now, what's in my kiln is this. And I don't know if if you see, like, if the colors are kind of good. I don't think they are, but I'll show it like this. I think this is way better. So this should be green. This should be an orange. Am I saying it right? I think this should be an orange and this should be a green. This is an... Okay, I will check this. Oh God. Why did I forget? I didn't forget. Wait, I'm going to look this up. Mildly panicking at the moment. Which one is which? No. These two are made with cobalt oxide, and this is made with cobalt carbonate, and they both should give me something brighter than this. Hopefully. Wait, one moment, please. I'm looking up what I made. I have everything written down here. I have samarium, chromium. So this should be the green, and this should be the orange. Yeah. So this is a nickel-based one with vanadium, and this is a titanate with samarium and chromium oxide. An orange with chromium oxide. Don't ask me why. Or you could ask me why. But chromium does weird things in pigment mixes. And it had a reason, but like I'm looking through my notes at the moment, and I'm not going to look through all of it, but I will see you tomorrow. That's a really good question. A watercolorist. And the really short answer is it is possible. Yes. Unfortunately. If you mess it up completely, this is my lid, which should be loose. I've showed this before. But this is a fully melted one of the earlier manganese green attempts that I fired way too hot. And what I can show you, oh, can I? Oh yeah, I can. So I have 3 examples here. Obviously, this is a cobalt blue. This is from the violet, which had cobalt blue in it before it. This is unwashed. I haven't washed these. And I made a manganese green in this one. These are all unwashed, kind of. Yeah, it is a paperweight. And thing with this is it needs different acids to wash these out. Cobalts don't react on like anything like a vinegar or citric acid, just household things. Cobalt doesn't really react on that. Manganese does, soak it for a few hours. No. these need a different acid. I have it. Oh, I forgot which acid it is. I'm really sorry. But these need to soak for like an hour and a half, 2 hours to get most of it out. That at least, you know, it doesn't give any color off. But you know, I'm buying new crucibles. This is this aluminium, and these are great because most pigments really, I get like 99.9% of the pigment out of it. It stains the crucibles a bit. But I had ceramic crucibles before this, and you know, that just sucks in the pigment. That's terrible, and you can't really clean them. And the alumina is fantastic. Like, this feels like high quality stuff. So I use these right now, and as you saw in the picture, I have a bigger one because that was just, you know, cobalt carbonate has a less of the active compound in it that is needed for coloring the pigment. So you need more of the powder, and eventually I needed more of that, or to get the same kind of thickness of the layer for the heat and the reaction. That was a mosquito. I needed to take a bigger crucible for it to just get like the same proportions of it. So that's that. I saw someone making the the comment that I'm taking it really serious. I am taking it maybe a little bit too much sometimes. But you know, I notice making paints. I really enjoy making paints, but there's so much things that can go wrong after that. Especially with the shipping, which has been a nightmare, to be honest, last period for me. And it really set me down. So I also noticed that a lot more people like get the more exclusive stuff, and like a lot of people use Guerra dispersions for their watercolors right now, especially, you know, when you look on Etsy for pigments. Most people that sell manganese blue or quinacridone gold either buy it from eBay or Guerra. Most times Guerra when it comes to quinacridone gold. And like there's a competition that I don't particularly like. I don't really like the way of the kind of competition that has been kind of growing over the last years. And you know, when things of shipping like that happen, I mean, that watercolors, that does make me sad. So focusing on this and just kind of setting a goal for myself, and it's aimed way too high, I think, but making something unique, making something like over the last years, I tried to kind of look for pigments that were kind of more exclusive or you know, harder to find. And Gulshan, that's kind of where I'm aiming at right now. There's nothing wrong with where I'm at, to be honest. I kind of have a lot of their pigments right now, their dispersions, to try it, and just to, you know, things that I really can't get in the dry version. But you know, trying to get a dry. Basically, if I can make something of a dry pigments is, I will never make it out of a dispersion if I have to dry pigment. That's the that's kind of I go by that, and seeing that a lot of people do offer that. Sometimes it's cheaper as well, easier to make, quicker to make, or less expensive to make. It's a competition that just kind of, you know, I need to look for another way. And that's why, you know, yeah, I revived manganese green. I'm not selling it yet. I haven't found the version that I'm really like excited about yet. Like I'm super excited about every version, but I want to have that one version that stands out, and I'm going to look for that. Probably next week. I'm going to work on manganese green again. But it's, you know, it's not that I want to go into the books as, you know, with my name or my brand attached to a pigment, that I'm an inventor of pigment. I wouldn't dare to think of myself in a way like that. But it is something that I aim for. I don't expect to get there, but it is something that I aim for. Selling beta things sounds really Stuart Semple-ish. Not going there. It's a good idea though. Maybe I should, but it's the problem still. Jesse, I'm not counting myself out at all. Over the last, I think, 2 weeks, I actually refound some hope in that. With these things yesterday, it kind of it didn't really confirm it for me. But you know, seeing the versions of manganese green that I made, and this, which worked, which was, you know, it worked in my head, and now it worked on paper as well. It's something I'm proud of, and so yeah, I don't count myself out, but it takes a lot. It takes a lot, and I'm not a chemist. I'm an enthusiast, and I think, you know, with the right will, you can get there, absolutely. But it's will, it's costs, it's time. Thanks, Ian. Or I can call me like Lawrence Sampleton. No, I won't. I will never do that. So yeah, pigments are maybe just kind of the making pigments are just my focus now. That as well, Paolo. No, but you know, I quickly looked into what it takes to get your pigment have its own CI number, its color index number. It takes a lot of forms, a lot of data that I can't deliver. I don't have the means or connections who can do that. Magulchi, and then I still have my live streams and my YouTube to prove that I was the first one who had that. He can market the hell out of it and say anything he wants. There's no changing the date on my YouTube videos or my live streams. Nothing. He can say whatever he wants. I have way too many samples to show that I've been working on that for way longer. And money, yeah, Paolo. But I did, you know, just out of curiosity, I a few years back, I was denied a subscription and membership on the CI and in the color index in that club. I actually got approved. I tried it again last 3 weeks ago, just out of curiosity what it would cost me. And then I filled in the form. But then, you know, after all this shipping mess that happened with Etsy and mostly Deutsche Post, or PostNL, I think, actually, somewhere in between it happened. I still don't have any returns from insurance or the post office or anything of it. I haven't heard of it, anything of them anymore, and I've been contacting them for like the last 5 weeks, twice a week. Haven't heard anything, so that's, you know, that did cost me a lot. That set me back way too much, more than I'm comfortable with. So I can't afford the subscription on the color index. It was kind of affordable for a year. It's expensive, but you know, especially since I'm doing this, it's getting more interesting to look more into that. But it's the raw materials that are very expensive, and everything else. Tool-wise, equipment-wise, I think I'm set. I think, you know, I'm good. I have a modern computer. My setup is solid here. It works for me. It can always be more professional, but I don't need that for what I do. My kiln is as old as my microscope. Yeah, they can both be more modern, but they both work for what I do. So, you know, I think that's working. But it's the how would you do that, Paolo? Just a in-between question. It's the raw materials that set you back a lot. It's expensive. The oxides are expensive. Pigments itself are expensive. Collecting pigments is just an expensive side quest. So yeah. Yeah, but Gulchin, I rather buy some very exclusive oxides when it comes to making pigments, or some pigments that are still on my list that I don't have because I really want to try them. I'd rather buy that than, you know, invest in new equipment or upgrade new equipment. I have no use of a very modern, very high-tech microscope. They cost thousands of euros, and, you know, I probably don't know how to properly use it. Not enough to justify the money. Kiln-wise, yeah, maybe, kind of. Could be way more compact, could be way more precise when, you know, with a computer attached to it. Oh, trust me, when I was younger, I collected things from movies and anything as well. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. So yeah, it's fun. It's interesting. I'm learning a lot, and where's my swatch? I am currently working on a new video. As you can see, very organized. There you go. This is just a quick swatch I made of it. I made a quick swatch. So Paolo, speaking of Indian yellow, I can send this to you, or a bit of it. I mean, like everything I showed during the live that I showed this. Let me have a look at this, by the way. I kind of threw something on the microscope slide before I went live. It's dry now. Why is someone singing again? I don't do singing music, guys. Like, seriously, where is it coming from? Scarborough Fair again. Huh. Okay. Let's polarize this. Cross polarized. Oh, still not completely dry. You know, the weird thing is, so as I said, I threw something under the microscope. I should really kind of look into how I can improve this. I'm not. Maybe this is better. No, this is not better. Sorry, I'm not seeing the chat as well now right now. I'm sorry, guys. Really not happy with the glare that it gives right now. Oh, sorry, no, the singing wasn't. I'm putting on I'll have a random playlist on. It's like playing similar music than I clicked on. This is what I'm seeing right now from my microscope, but it has a lot of glare. Let me just get rid of this light over here. I'm in the dark right now. It is a little bit better. It's still not perfect, and it's not dry, as you can see, as it's like dancing and all. And it's trying to. I really hate this. Why is it trying to compensate for the light? I mean, like, as you can see here, it's clearly does something on the cross-polarized light. If I put it on a cross polarization right now, but it's not needles. Yeah, the particles moving. I made the microscope slide just before I went live. It's not dry yet, but it's not needle shaped, so I don't think it is real. Which brings me to another thing. I'm trying to synthesize Indian yellow. Truly chemically synthesize Indian yellow. And shouldn't be too difficult. And then compare it to this stuff. To more archival. I'm not saying this isn't real. Maybe it's made in a different way. Maybe bovine urine has been used for it. Maybe it's processed in a different way or chemically treated. I'm not sure. And maybe It's not real. I can't be sure. Mark, welcome. I have a real sample of Indian yellow, yeah. Yeah. Well, I did a comparison a couple of lives ago. And it really, you know? You know what I mean, right? Where I showed this, which is basically, I should really, I put that. Looking at, you know, how this stays yellow and lights up, that version stays yellow and lights up, and this one doesn't. This one is actually real. The zooming with one hand, by the way, with one finger is kind of tricky, and it works quite well. Sorry. But this is genuine. This one is morose. That was a, I think, a good way of saying it. This what you see here is just something that's spilled over it while showing what true reflective Indian, what true UV pigment looks like. Oh, that's so bright. Oh. So I did, you know, yeah, I know, but you know, I compared it in a way that I could hear, but there were too many differences here to say like this stuff is real. Too many differences. PY 108. Wait, what? Synthetic? Is that? I mean, there's a lot of hues of it. I don't know if there's like one true synthetic Indian yellow. Or do you mean like that should be chemically? Roman Small sells it as an Indian yellow hue. Anthrapyrimidine yellow. Anthrapyrimidine yellow. Pyramid yellow. Oh, I have that. It's pyramid yellow medium. Why didn't you say that? I have that. It's literally on my shelf here. What do you know? And it looks nothing alike. I wouldn't say it looks nothing alike, but what is this? That's way too difficult to pronounce. Even, you know, looking at chemical names of stuff, I cannot pronounce this. Just can't. I'm not going to try either. But yeah, it's this. Nah. This one, it. Oh my god! I don't wanna make it. Why are you letting me make it? But really, I'm sorry, this is way too much binder. I'm reading the chat while making paint. Shouldn't do that. This looks more like Indian yellow than Indian yellow, to be honest. Yeah, but I've been looking into how to make magnesium euxanthate, and mango leaves are needed for that, but you need to extract mangiferin out of mango leaves. And you need a lot of leaves for that. Yeah, I already knew that, Ian, but as far as I know, this isn't magnesium euxanthate, but it is I think it's a pretty good. Do I have another paper? That one that I really want to keep this one paper for. I'm just going to quickly paint it next to the thing that sells as genuine, okay? Let me just... I already have the feeling this is way warmer, which is actually good, since this is not warm enough, not nearly warm enough. Does this, what do I do anything with it? Here. No, this is like both dull, not lighting up. Not lighting up as well. So as you can see from the original, like this is genuine Indian yellow. It doesn't light up like highlighter green, as some people think, but the reaction under UV light is that it stays yellow. It stays like a vibrant yellow instead of a grayish thing. Like this is a vibrant orangey yellow. Pure 108 is beautiful. By the way, this is the first time I made this, I think. Maybe I made it quickly before. I'm going to put it right there. It was on my shelf, by the way. In the front of my shelf, because I'm going to need it for a video I'm working on. Well, that's not the same thing. This is sold as genuine Indian yellow, and I can't guarantee it is. From everything that I'm seeing, I'm as certain as this isn't the real stuff, as that I am certain that a certain company doesn't sell genuine lapis lazuli pigment, Fra Angelico, first class lapis lazuli pigment. And I'm really certain about that, but this is just too many things. Yeah, I know, Ian, but I've tried what is it, both 365 as 395 nanometers of UV light. So yeah. Oh. I would, if you are to go for an Indian yellow, I would just always take my Indian yellow. PY153. It's just, I think it's literally, till now I haven't found a pigment that is better. I think no, it's just my favorite Indian yellow. That's it. Just it's an opinion. I don't need to convince you of my opinion. That's just my opinion. Leave me alone. I think that's best. PY153. That's gorgeous. That's sunshine on a piece of paper. And it's mostly mass stone, I know, but this is just gorgeous. Yeah, I know Paolo, but just you were talking out about another brand again, so I need to do some, you know, I need to protect myself here. But I showed that in my YouTube video, didn't I? I know you want to see it in real life, but I'm just going to quickly look it up. If I look for Indian yellow pigment, let's see. Oh, that's good. On the third video you'll find, at least that I find. That is commercials. We do not want commercials, especially not from this. Is that the end of the video that I really need to record the video.
Things from the past, things from the present, things that are raw in yellow heat. Happy.
Right, so please don't listen to me, but look at what I made. This is from my video. A gamboge on the bottom. PY153 on the right, on the top right. Next to that, the original Indian yellow, and PY150 next to that. So gamboge is on the bottom. In all honesty, that was literally swatched directly. You can still see the piece of gamboge is still a little bit wet. Directly swatched from the chunk of gamboge. So I didn't grind it up to be as a pigment, but I was just wetting the gamboge. I don't know if I can. Did I show it here? That's just me making paint. You've seen me making paint enough. No, that was just a comparison. Yeah, there you go. So a quick comparison between those. Valerie, $50 for a half pan of ultramarine. Well, if you wanna buy my Frangelico blue, you'll be, you know, $50 is quite cheap. Mine is way more expensive, but that's just, I make my Frangelico pigment myself. Oh, Paolo, this is, by the way, this is from a video. This is like literally, there's like annoying little flies here. I don't know where they come from, but it's not okay. They're coming from somewhere. This is not okay. I've seen 2 or 3 already. Oh, you bought you. Oh, you bought you. Oh, Well, anyway, I will link it. This is it's how old is this? This is a long time ago. Old Indian yellow video. There you go. Now, Valerie, there's one company I bought all the Frangelic home or first quality lapis lazuli pigments. And it's there's just one supplier of the pigment. I will get rid of this, by the way. This is one supplier of the pigment that I don't trust. I do think it is not real. Unfortunately, there's also paint makers that use that pigment and sell it as Frangelico paint. Happy to hear it was helpful for you, Jesse, and I'm really curious on how that works. But you know, the shake test, do that. Like put it in small files if you have any doubts. If it sinks down really quickly, it's you know, bigger chance it's the real thing. If it stays blue for a long time and settles down really slowly, it's probably mixed with synthetic or just synthetic pigment. If it stays blue, it is dyed as well. They used to dye for it, which is terrible. Yeah, Gulchen, about that, yes. And I've kind of, you know, I've never mentioned the brand that I really think that I will never buy pigment from again. I never mentioned them because I noticed that I've spoken to a few paint makers, asked them, you know, which pigment are you using, and the ones that named that brand, I kind of, you know, shared my findings before I made the video. I shared my findings with, and I said, you know, please just look into this, buy it from another supplier and compare it with each other. Just, you know, that you have some comparison, not that you just buy from one source and settle with that. I never do that. You know, you do you, but if you sell paint for, you know, it's quite expensive still, but not as expensive as mine, and I'm very aware of that. But it's quite expensive, and if you do want to sell it, you know what you have, know how it compares to other things. Some really weren't happy with what I brought, and they were really kind of being kind of aggressive in their defense, which I didn't really like because I really just wanted to help. So yeah, I stopped doing that, and I'm not mentioning the name as well because I found that the way that they defended the company, I thought there's more behind it. And can I share this here? Okay, without naming any company. without naming any names or I did get my confirmation it wasn't real. I got it from a source that I trust as much as anyone can trust a source. But since the pigment world is such a small world, I collected all the lapis samples. I got in contact with a supplier. We had some communication back and forth. And they said, could you please send us the one that you don't trust, because we can't order it ourselves from them, because the pigment world is just too small that any kind of direct orders from one company to another would already kind of spark suspicion. Which really said enough for me. Like, if it's that tense, obviously I was happy to send them some of the pigment. And they called me. They said we just had a manufacturer of new microscopes from the East visit us, and they had a demo microscope with them, to see what we can buy for our lab. By the way, this is a big paint and pigment supplier as well. And they said, okay, we're seeing what you're seeing. There's no doubt. There's just no doubt. Yes. Like, I'm not wrong. I actually got quite confident in, what I saw here, that I can identify real or false Indian yellow with what I have. I was really pleased with that. Another supplier, also I had contact with them, and that answers your question, Paolo. He said there's no batch of lapis lazuli pigment that comes in here that before we sell it, we wash it to see if there's any dye mixed in it, or if there's any solubles or anything that we don't trust that we can see. They just, every batch of pigment, they take a sample out of it, test it before it goes on the shelves. He said it's that serious with lapis pigments, because there's too many fakes going around. Percentage I cannot say. I mean, if all suppliers, or most suppliers, let me just put it like that, because I have pigment that I'm sure of isn't real, but most suppliers do that. I don't know what percentage kind of goes around which isn't real, if only the real thing or real thing goes on the shelf. Yeah, but Paolo, basically, Frangelico is a purified version of lapis lazuli, right? Is a purified version of lapis pigment. So that was for all of the pigments. This was a company that I was in contact. Oh, it was a phone call, by the way, 2-3 times. I had a phone call with them about that, and this was during one of those phone calls where they said no matter the quality of the lapis, they always test it. And I was really shocked about that. But I think if you're really interested into pigments, or if you're making paint, and if you're selling Frangelico as a purified lapis lazuli, or a first class best quality lapis lazuli pigment, tested and buy pigment from competitors, buy pigment from other suppliers, just to compare it, because one thing I can say, this was the one that I don't trust. This is cheapest and the most blue one. That's I said it in the video as well. It can't be bluer and cheaper. It's just not possible. It's just not possible. The labor, the raw material needed for it, it's incredible amount of hours that go into making the pigment, an incredibly expensive raw material you're starting with even. It can't be the cheapest one if it's also the bluest, purest one. It's just not possible. It's just, you know, sometimes it's possible that you know, 90% of the market just asks too much for something. And that's the one place that just, you know, is fair in its price and doesn't want to take advantage of customers. But in this case, in this pigment with this color, this base material, it's just not possible. And that's just common sense. That's nothing scientific about that. That's just common sense. But Jesse, lapis pigment, that's what Paolo also meant. Lapis pigment is different than a frangelico paint. And just, you know, if we're talking pigments, if we look at Gamer, for instance, and we look at lapis, what we see here, you have the purest lapis lazuli, which is 250 euros for 10 grams, which is fair for the quality. The way they make it, in the skill that they make it, but it's on the expensive side, right? If you look at what is the other one? I think it's the good quality, or is it the Chile one? I think it's a good quality. No, but still, they had a... Oh, this became more expensive since the last time I visited. Oh, wow. Sorry. Oh, wow, this really became more expensive since the last time I visited this one. Oh, sorry. Oh, you can't. Oh, Paolo, Jesse can't read your messages anymore. When there is glass next to the pigment, does that mean it comes to? Yes, it does. So this is so glass. A kilogram in a glass jar. That sounds tricky. Yeah, here it just says jar, so it comes in a plastic jar. With Kramer, that's usually, you know, one of these small ones. And when it comes in a glass jar of Kramer, this is the one, which is lapis lazuli purest. Hey, yes, I do have that in a glass jar. So I did my research very well, looking at the price, but it wasn't this expensive. It was very expensive. I think it was 200 euros for 10 grams back then, but it wasn't this expensive. Prices have gone up terribly. Second choice, medium quality, 380 euros for 100 grams. There you go. So this is actually quite a good quality lapis. it's terribly expensive, but you get 10 times as much. So that's always interesting to look at. But then you see, you know, just some price, and I'm not affiliated with them. 50mm paints that are affordable and very blue are just a no-go. That's just the truth. And I think I have like 6 or 7 brands of the purest lapis. And I actually really wanna. Let me first have a look what the costs are. That's fair. This is fair. I'm not promoting a brand. Am I? This stuff is real. This stuff is affordable. I am. There you go. I've done it. I've also tried it with this before they started selling their Frangelico pigment. They sent me a sample when I asked them for their purest lapis. 30 grams, 105 euros. This is more than fair. And this isn't the cheapest one. This is also not the bluest one, but it's not the cheapest one as well. So yeah, they've done it. I did promote them. That's a good brand. They have a good communication, and they don't have a lot of pigments as well. Which makes it more convincing that it's actually the real stuff. Thanks, Paolo. I'm. Oh yeah, it's almost 11. I'm almost going as well. Have a great evening, and thanks for joining. But yeah, basically, just, you know, when you're thinking about lapis lazuli as a pigment, as a paint. If it's cheap, if it's blue, it's just not real. Period. I think it is quite simple. And if they claim it to be real, they're probably not trustworthy as well. Not to be negative, but just to be very, very realistic with some things. Same as Indian yellow, I found out, as good as the marketing and story is, because if I didn't look at this, and if I would kind of just if it wouldn't be me with a ridiculous collection of pigments and the real stuff to compare it with, and a microscope and a spectrometer, and just nerdy knowledge about it, I would believe that this is real. But I do have those things. Okay, let's not end with negativity here, or anything about that. I'm going to bed as well, because tomorrow morning, let me just look at the temperature. Maybe get a sneak peek. 400 degrees still, and that's way too warm. I'm only comfortable opening it at 150, 200, 150 degrees, because by then the crystal structure of the pigments have fully formed, and right now what could still happen if I open it and take a lid of a crucible, it could get a thermal shock, which makes the color less saturated or has influence on granulation. And I want neither of those, so I'm letting it cool down. I'm going to bed as well right now, because I'm going to wake up tomorrow early in the morning to see what that pigment has become. So, thank you so much everyone for joining. If you are in the same time zone, or if you're still awake, if you're in a different time zone, I'll be back tomorrow morning if the pigments have worked. So turn on your notifications if you want to be the first one to know if I'm online again. And I think that's about it. Yeah, Teddy, send me a message of what kind of paints you're interested in. We can always have a look at a custom order or anything that you like. So yeah. Thank you so much. Thanks, A Watercolors, for joining. Thank you, Jesse. No, I know. You were negative, Jesse. Thank you so much, A Watercolors. It really means a lot. I mean, you're here always, but that really means a lot to hear. And I really appreciate everyone joining. Always having our little club back together every time. So. Valerie, for you as well, thank you so much. Also, thank you for joining the PRI thing. Just putting some focus on that, guys, for those of you who haven't joined then. Fat Filbert, thank you. Hopefully I'll have some good news tomorrow. Otherwise, I'll probably be back again next week. Won't be back again before that, I'm not quite sure. I'll have to see. But I'll keep you posted, either via a post on YouTube or my Instagram. Again, guys, thank you so much and have a great rest of the day. Bye, guys.